Hi and welcome back. I want to share with you how you can make these leaves and flowers in Blender pretty easily. They have GeoNode textures, so they are printable with textures and a little bit of sculpting. Here's what they look like after they're printed and painted. And now let's jump in. On a new project, we're going to get rid of the light and the camera. We'll have the top-down view on a cube setup. Come over to edit mode. We'll type the letter A, and just so you know, that selects everything. And then we're going to type the letter M to merge all of those vertex in the center. So now we have one vertice here that we're going to extrude. I'm going to type E and bring it across and maybe down. I'm going to go E, and then I'm going to go E here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. And for this, we need to have an even number or an equal amount of vertices for the thing that we're doing to work. So I'm going to type E and just kind of extrude these up. It doesn't really matter what the number is. What's more important is that we have the same amount. So that looks like a spade there. And what I'll do is come across and make a small little flat tip for the leaf right there. And now as I extrude back down, I want to make sure that I type E and I'm just making the same amount. So in other words, there's one over there, and here we go. And then we're going to come back to the beginning. So now I need to select both of these here, and I'm going to do that with a transform tool. So select on both of them, bring them over, and then type M to merge that at the center. So now we have an equal amount. And if we did this correctly, we can type the letter A, and I've got an organic looking leaf here, which is cool. Hit Control F, and I should be able to grid fill. Great. Now I get these lines across, or these edges that go across, and that's exactly what I'm going for. So now I'm going to subdivide this a little bit further. I'm going to just use the knife tool and come up from these bases to here. Come up from this base to here. And that gives me a roughly equal grid. Of course, some of them are more rectangular than others, and that's okay. And then I'm going to grab the selection tool one more time. I'm going to go to subdivide, and we're going to subdivide this a lot. And let's see, if I give it 10, maybe even, let's jump it up to 14. That's a lot of vertex, but what it does is it makes everything roughly a grid. In some places it will triangulate, and we can get rid of that after, but right now we have a good grid, and that's going to give a nice texture. It's going to allow us to bend the leaf the way we want it to. So I'm going to go to the back view now, and I'm going to use the 3D cursor. Put it here in the middle, move my mouse away from it, hit Shift W, and kind of bend it. And the farther away your mouse is, the more gradual the bend is going to be, or in this case, the closer, the tighter it's going to be. Let's go from the side view now. Same thing. Farther away, Shift W gives you kind of a tighter or a looser curve here, and it gives a tighter one the closer you are. Let's do it one more time, just to kind of gradually bend that back side of the leaf. Okay, that looks pretty good. Happy with that. And with everything selected, we can now go back to our transform tool, type the letter E, and we're going to pull it up, or we're going to extrude upwards. Okay, so we have everything selected, and we need to do a few things with this selection. First of all, we have some polys, and we want them to be quads. So we'll have face selected up here and triangles to quads, and that will make everything into a quad. And then I'm going to subdivide this one more time, and that's going to give us hopefully enough geometry to sculpt this and add some of the creases in the leaves. Well, last thing, while everything is selected, again, you might need to do triangles to quads again, just to get rid of that stuff. And then we can go to selection and more or less, less. And that's going to deselect anything that's along the edge. We can do it one more time even. And that's going to be helpful because we're going to make a geometry node texture that's going to apply only to these vertices. So now with the data tab, we're going to hit plus, we're going to hit assign, and that's going to assign those vertex. We can rename it something like textures. And let's deselect and then reselect just to be sure. Okay, yeah, that looks good. And now we're ready to do some sculpting. We'll come over to the sculpture mode. I'm going to go back to top down. I'm going to grab the crease tool, crease sharp tool, and fiddle around with these. You know, you want something that isn't too big, and it's going to basically make the vein through the bottom of the leaf. Let's try something like that. Now, if this looks boxy, you need to subdivide further. So that's why I did that. I'm not going to make these too specific. I'm just going to give the idea of a leaf. And I probably would have spent a little more time on these on my own, but for the sake of the tutorial, that looks pretty good. And that's what you're going for. Anything that's more boxy than this won't work well. Now, we'll go back over to object mode. And yeah, you could print this as is. It has thickness, but it'd be nice to add some textures. So let's do that now. I'm going to drag up. I'm going to switch this to the node editor, and I'm going to hit new. I'll also type N to get rid of that context menu, and we'll make that a little bigger. So first thing we need is to hit Shift A, add a set position. And I'll put that in the middle. Now we're going to do Shift A, and we're going to look for an attribute, named attribute. And this is going to be the vertex group. So you can click on it, and there's textures. I'm going to drag out, and I'm going to do a greater than. And that means that anything that's greater than whatever this value is going to be, and we can set it at 0.01 for now, is going to be the selection. So then we'll drag the result to the selection on this set position. Now down here we just need to add a couple more. One is a normal, geometry read normal, and then underneath that we're going to do a divide. And this math node, you know, you can change it to multiply, add, subtract. So we'll try divide for now. Now I'm going to pull it out on this one and go scale. And I can never remember. I think it's vector math. That's right. It's the purple one here. We'll put vector into the offset. You can already see some weirdness happening. Now I'm going to take the normal and put that into the vector and put the value into the scale. And yep, some weird stuff's happening also. So we can then change, you can see the value here. So if I go negative value, stuff's going to come out the top or it's going to come out the bottom. So let's just set the value to 0 for now. And now we can just plug in textures here. So Shift A, and I'm going to do a noise texture, but there's lots of them that you can try out. Just type texture and you'll see. We'll put this into the value, and now you can see that that stuff's coming out the top or the bottom, right? So if I do, you know, negative 0.01, that's kind of crazy. So in this case, divide isn't working great because it's giving us more than we want. You know, I could pull this up, and there's that noise texture starting to show up on the surface, which is pretty cool. Let's change the scale, something like that, just because we want this to be kind of a textural leaf. That looks great, and you can see around the edges That's the area that did not get the texture applied to it. So that's why we went and selected less on the outside. And now you have a leaf that is 3D printable. This is a modifier, so make sure when you go to your export menu, when you're going to go in 3D print your STL, be sure that your modifiers is checked on. That's a basic leaf in Blender with some geometry node textures. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial and look forward to hearing more from you. Let me know how things work out.